Welcome to my however many parts it takes series on how to operate a table saw safely. It does not matter whether you have a big shop table saw or you have a smaller saw. I have a smaller DeWalt just over there. Operating them is exactly the same. I see a lot of bad advice being given out there, and I want to make sure that you guys are safe as can be. Number one, eye protection. Always wear eye protection anytime you're operating a saw or machinery. Another safety tip is make sure you are not wearing any type of gloves. The second is it does help to have yourself an apron. If something was to kick back, it gives you an extra layer of protection. A respirator or dust mask is a really great idea whether you have dust collection or you do not. One of the most crucial tips is to make sure you don't have any sleeves that are hanging down to where when you are making your cuts that they would get remotely close to this blade, because when fabric comes in contact with a spinning blade, it gets sucked into it. So make sure if you're wearing a hoodie, you tie those strings, put them inside the sweatshirt. We don't want you getting injured, and that is about one of the biggest things I could tell you. I do sometimes wear a sweatshirt when I'm using the table saw, but when I do, I have my arms rolled all the way up, okay? So with a table saw, you're mostly going to be ripping with it, although you can cross cut. What ripping is cutting the length of the wood with the grain, where cross cutting is cut across the grains of the wood, which you usually don't use this table saw for cross cutting lumber. We usually use a miter saw for that, but there's plenty of times where you can. You would just always want to make sure that you use your miter gauge. So a third thing is that you always want to make sure that you have a push stick, a push block. It could be wood, it could be plastic, whatever you like. One tip I will give you is the way you need to push wood through the table saw is to back it firmly, where push blocks don't give you that type of backing. Those ride on top of your workpiece, and the workpiece can slide out from under you. Anytime you go to make a cut, you're always going to start off with pushing it through with your hands. Never start off with using a push stick here and a push stick here, because push sticks are only made to help you keep your fingers away from the blade. Your fingers are not around the blade here, and with a push stick, you actually have a lot less control. So when you're making a cut, you want to have your hand, this hand, right up against the fence, or hook a finger on it and do what we call riding the fence. Okay, but you always want to make sure you either have the meat in your hand or the butt in your hand up against and holding behind that. Okay, that's where your pressure wants to be, not on top. Now, most of the time, you don't stand directly behind the piece that you're cutting for safety reasons, but with plywood, it's okay to do that. Make sure your fence is secured. Keep your hand up against the saw. This is just an assistant. Use the same force to push it through. And this hand should always be kind of trying to push it up against the fence as well as forward, just like this. Hands behind your material. And you pick it up and out of the way, okay? Never reach for your material over the blade. Don't go over the blade. Okay, so let's just say I have this piece. It's 10 inches. Let's say I want to cut it to this length. It's really dangerous for this short of a piece to be cut this way without a little bit of assistance, especially for a novice at the table saw. It's very easy for this piece to go like this, which will spin right back at you and hit you. Okay? But what you can do is you can use this and you can incorporate your miter gauge, okay? So this prevents this piece from rocking at all, right? And it's okay to use in conjunction with this fence because both of these are on the right side of the blade. Let me use a longer piece for reference. This would be wrong if we did it like this. Okay? If we did it like this, this would be wrong. I know it's easy to go ahead and measure. That's what I needed. But when you do this, and this piece is called your captive piece, when this is left and not secured, it's going to spin and it's going to kick back at you every single time. So this is not the way to use it, but this would be, okay? If you have, sometimes you have no other choice, it's okay to measure what you need with your fence, set this up, and guess what? You just move your fence out of the way. You have no captive piece now. This is how you're going to use that. This is already holding the piece behind it, okay? So what you do is Hold down securely like this. Okay? And to grab your piece, always move it away. Okay, but what about the times when you do need to use a push stick, when you're too close to the fence for your own comfort? That's okay. Okay, so times to use the push stick are going to be when you're making a cut you don't feel comfortable with. I personally would not run my fingers through there. I get to about a couple inches and I use my push stick. Okay, so let's do that. We're going to go tighten the fence down. Always make sure your push stick is right close to you. Mine usually sits right here. Okay, so you always feed your piece into it with your hands. You're not going to use this push stick until we're almost all the way through the cut, like this. So at no time do you want to take a piece and put it in with two push sticks, one here and one here, or a block here and a block here. And the reason is because push sticks are just meant to push it through. They don't give you a lot of control over this, okay? And if you're just feeding in your push stick like this and you're hoping for the best, I hope you make it. So there's lots of ways you can use the table saw other than what I've just shown to make lots of different cuts and miters and joinery. And we'll go over each and every one of those in the next few videos of this series. So if these are new tips to you, let me know in the comments. If you learned something, also let me know.